What is it that you know to be true about programmers?
Lazy.
Lazy. Programmers are lazy. Okay? And so the idea of writing the same piece of code over and over again is abhorrent to a program. Functions allow us to break up a program into its component pieces, and then just simply invoking those functions allows us to do those lines of code over and over again. Okay, so this kind of looks like a pyramid that's stuck on its side, or a histogram. So this particular program, in and of itself, is not all that interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, the code is what's the interesting piece of this. That's right, show stars. I have this function that we're called show stars that will show a certain number of stars on a row. And part of this is that I want to name this function something meaningful, something that will indicate to me the purpose of this function. So you can see, for instance, show stars sub 1 indicates that I want to show 1 star on that row. Okay?
You don't need a variable?
I could use a variable. I could use anything that has a value here is what I could pass in.
Okay.
If I look down here at my function, or actually let's start at the very beginning. Our program, the very first thing our program does is it prints out the title of the page and then a brief description of the page. And then I start off with this paragraph, and then I call this show star sub 1. What that does is it tells the browser, jump ahead and go to a different part of this program. Specifically, this thing right here that's labeled as a function called show stars. And it has with it a parameter. A parameter is like in a trade where they have a player to be named later. This parameter is a way to get information into this function. Okay, it's a way to get information or values in this function. Okay. Now, what I can do inside of a function is it's like a little mini program. We can declare variables inside of this function. When they're called inside of a function, we call them local variables. So you can see I've created this local variable called star count. And it goes inside of this function. And then I've got this for loop here. Remember a for loop? We've got those 3 things in here. What is this first thing called? What is this first statement called in a for loop? That's right, it's the initialization. So what we're doing is we're setting star count equal to 0. Okay? So when we first get into this loop, this statement right here is executed first. Then what's this next piece? What do we call that? That's right, it gives us when to end it, it lets us know when to end. We call this the condition. Okay? And so as long as star count is less than star number, go ahead and execute this for loop. Now we know where star count comes from. It comes from this variable right here. Star number is this parameter. So remember, it gets sent in to this function. Where does it get sent in? When the function is invoked. Okay. So this thing right here, show stars sub 1, indicates that 1 is being passed in as the value for star number. In this particular case, this 1 indicates that this is what's known as an argument. Argument into the function passed as a parameter. Okay, so in this particular case, 1 gets passed down as star number. Okay, so all I have to do is just think star number is equal to 1. So then we do our condition. Is 0 less than 1? That's true. So go ahead and then output this asterisk. And then when we reach the end of a for loop, what happens? When I reach the end of a for loop, what gets executed? There's a change. Where is this change located? Yeah, this one right here, this last condition is the change. This gets executed at the end of every for loop. So we say star count plus plus, that increments it by 1. So now star count is equal to 1. Is 1 less than 1? Nope, that's false. So we fall out of this loop. We write a break, and then we return. This return says go back to the place where this function was called and continue running. Okay. So now we go to the next one. This one right here. So it says call show stars, only this time pass it a 2 instead of a 1. So now star number gets passed in with a value of 2. And now we output 2 stars on the line as opposed to 1. Okay? So rather than copy and pasting all of these lines of code, 10 different times, I can just call the function show stars and have that run 10 times. Okay? Now, at this point, I imagine there's probably a lot of questions over functions and how they work. What I'd like to do today is we'll construct a function together as a class. So you have kind of an idea of how they work. And then tomorrow I'll have you do a function on your own. Okay? All right.